Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here, back with another gaming nostalgia story. As you can tell, this one is Final Fantasy VII. This game, I'm sure there are many people who have some sort of story related to this game. At least if you close to my age, my generation, you're gonna have either a fond or not so fond memory of this game. So I'm kind of mentioned this in another story, that this game kind of changed things. If you were alive when this game came out, you saw that this was a major shift in gaming. This game was marketed toward everyone, not just the regular gaming audience. Like, they made this cinematic. They made commercials. There's like, this is not a movie, this is a game. Like, Square was very adamant about marketing this game to as many people as possible. And this game is the reason why I laugh constantly at Bernie Stoller's dislike for RPGs, because it just goes to show a well-done RPG can be marketed toward everyone. But this game, this was my first experience being kind of jaded. I've mentioned before, my friends and I, for the most part, we were not, socially popular. We were not, we weren't the cool kids. We were the nerdy kids. We were the dorks, the geeks, whatever. We were not the sports stars or anything like that. Most of my friends were really intelligent. Some of them, were popular in that sense of, oh yes, we really respect his intelligence, but, he's not someone that you invite to parties, that sort of thing. And it wasn't until Final Fantasy VII came out that perceptions shifted greatly. Before Final Fantasy VII, my friends and I, we would sit here and we would discuss games, like, how do we get past this part? What do we need to do here? We just need to get better at, memorizing patterns for platformers, things like that. And then Final Fantasy VII comes out and is marketed toward everyone. And people in our class started actually, changing. Before 7, it was, you guys are just geeks for playing all your games, why don't you go out and play, like, basketball or something? That sort of mentality. And it was really different. It was really... We were not, looked up at. If anything, we were looked down upon most of the time. But I will never forget the day. It was probably 3 or 4 days after Final Fantasy VII came out that I was talking to a friend in my English class, and suddenly one of the popular kids, one of the kids that he and I really didn't interact with at all before this, he wasn't an ass to me, he wasn't a jerk or anything, but we just didn't talk. But he was exceptionally popular. He was well loved by everyone, and he just kind of taps me on the shoulder, like, "Hey, dude, I gotta ask, you play video games, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "I just bought Final Fantasy VII, and I don't know what to do at this point." And I'm sitting here looking at him like, "Are you kidding me? Really? Like, a week ago, you would have been the type of person that would have made fun of me for this sort of thing. And you're asking for my help." And part of me was like, you know what? I kind of want to just tell him to screw off. You want my help when it's convenient for you, but because I'm not, the social elite, you treat me like dirt most of the time. And again, this particular classmate of mine, he didn't treat me poorly or positively, really. It was like, we knew each other existed, and that was the extent of, any sort of interaction. But, and a couple of my friends were like, yeah, that's kind of dick, because, he's the type of person that, his friends, some of his friends would actively mock me and my friends. And so, against what would have been my better judgment, I'm like, okay, sure. I help him get through it, and I actually give him a strategy that made it a lot easier than what he was trying to make it out to be. And he comes back to school a couple days later. He's like, dude, that strategy really helped me. Thank you for your help. This game is awesome. And you've played it a lot, obviously. And I didn't even own a PS1 at this point. Several of my friends did. I was the Saturn kid. But I would sit there and discuss with my friends strategies, and go over to their house after school and play it with them, and watch them play. And I knew the game system, I knew the mechanics, I knew the story, and so I was able to give him some help because I was the only one who did. Some of my other friends were like, you know what? No, we're not going to talk to you because your friends treat me like shit. And it was a really positive moment, but it was also a really depressing moment because it's like he and I didn't become friends after. We didn't magically become the best of friends over a game, which has happened to me before, but not in this case. We had a more pleasant working relationship from that point on. He again, he never went out of his way to make my life miserable, but he didn't go out of his way to make my life great either. But he actually made it so he got his friends to ease up a little bit, so that we weren't having to deal with as much of the junior high bullshit. And for that, I was actually really grateful because, like I said, a week before Final Fantasy VII came out, we would have had no positive interaction at all. And then after this game, he's asking for help, and we're being cordial to each other, which we wouldn't have before. And he wasn't the only one. So many other people at my school ended up picking up a copy of Final Fantasy VII, and the geeks, the dorks, the people who had been playing RPGs like this before, were suddenly not hated. We weren't well liked, but we weren't hated. And it got to a point where there was a kind of a breakdown of social barrier, at least for just a little bit. And like I said, a part of me was really happy, but a part of me was really jaded. It's like, so it's when it's convenient for you. And that's sadly how life works, is, a lot of people see their self-worth from others when it's, convenient for them, which is terrible. But this instance it kind of opened my eyes a little bit that maybe people are only jerks for, superficial reasons, not, out of a legitimate dislike. But it changed my perceptions on things. It really did. And after that, other games come out that start, getting people involved in games. Final Fantasy VIII came out later on and had, a fairly similar reaction. But Final Fantasy VII was this just tidal wave of change, at least at my school, because everyone who had a PlayStation, which was a good chunk of the school, really, which really entertained me because I'm publicly shunned for playing games when so many people had a PlayStation. But it was sports games or action games that was really all they talked about, not RPGs. So an RPG became really popular, and now suddenly that's pop culture. It rubbed some people the wrong way, myself included, for, like I said, a little bit. But I saw the same thing happen when Halo came out. Halo brought in a completely different collection of people into gaming. And, instances like that where gaming grows and brings in new people and new ideas and new perspectives, that was... I expected that to be, the beginning of some sort of gaming renaissance. It did change things for a couple of years, and as time has gone on, gaming has become more than socially acceptable. It's become... it's actually become very mainstream. The gaming industry makes as much, if not more, than other entertainment industries like the music industry, the movie industry, television. So it's definitely grown, and it's more socially accepted. But I find it really interesting at that point in time. It's like you could be shunned for playing an RPG, but now that it's popular and marketed toward these groups, it's now the hip thing to do. And I was really, like I said, part of me was grateful for it. It was a different thing. It was new, and part of me was a little jaded, a little grumpy about it. And it's like, this is what it takes to. It's like, if all I have to do is become somewhat popular because of a game, then that's yeah. But that was it was different. So, and I'm actually really entertained now because of I can tell that story, and people look at me like, really, you crazy? Because games have always been somewhat popular. It's like, no, they really haven't. It was dork culture is in now, and it wasn't for a really long time. So I got to see kind of a change, and in the end, this much hindsight between when Final Fantasy VII came out and now, like, I'm really grateful that this game actually started building up dialogue between people who otherwise would never have spoken to each other because of social class or stigma or whatever you want to call it. So I was really happy in at least this far out. But at the time, it was a drastically different mindset. So, but I'm waiting to see what the next game to do that is. Next game that's like, this is not just for quote gamers. This is for anyone and everyone who enjoys playing games. Or enjoys some sort of social interaction and entertainment. So, it's gonna be interesting to see where things go from here. But I will always remember, the quote cool kid in class asking me for my experiences in Final Fantasy VII so that I could help him get past a point that he was having trouble dealing with. So, I will always remember that as just being a major turning point. So, I want to hear your experiences. I know, like I said in the beginning, I know many people have probably had some sort of connection to Final Fantasy VII over the course of their life. It is an iconic game, for better or worse. You can love it or hate it, but there are so many people that have had an experience with this game that kind of stuck with them. So I want to hear everyone else's experiences with this game. Have you gotten a chance to play it? Did you have an experience where a cool kid asked you how to beat it and you were just like, what? Or maybe you were the cool kid and you met a friend that you didn't expect to have anything in common with until you asked, you've played Final Fantasy. How do I get past this? So let me know your thoughts and experiences and things like that. I really want to hear them. You can post it as a comment in the comment section of the video, or make a video and send me a link, and I'll do my best to link it to this, and share your experiences with my audience, and we can build a interesting series of stories for the community for that sort of thing. So let me know your experiences and things like that, and I will see you guys in the next gaming nostalgia stories. So till then, later everyone.